Critical race theory is based on the thesis that race is a social construct. It's the result of human bias and prejudice, and is also ingrained in our legal system and policies. I talk with CSHS students and teachers to see how racism still exists in today's society and how it gets addressed in classrooms.
Well, I think racism is still everywhere, and from schools just to general relationships amongst people and just in society as a whole.
I think it still applies through stereotypes, negative assumptions, and racial profiling.
I think the best way to address racism in class, not in class, is to have open discussions about it.
I think for starters, it should be taught at a young age. I feel like it's kind of pushed under the rug in a lot of cases.
I don't think that racism should be addressed in the classroom.
We talk about it a lot. World history is all about understanding the world, and to understand the world, you have to understand racism.
We talked about aspects of racism, oppression, gender inequality, those issues pretty much every day.
Sometimes we just talk about pieces themselves, and if they have any historical context that isn't necessarily politically correct now, and why it isn't that way.
States including Idaho, Oklahoma, Iowa, Florida, Tennessee, Arkansas, and New Hampshire have banned the idea of teaching CRT. Our very own Governor Brian Kemp is in support of banning this theory. According to Kemp, CRT and its dangerous ideology do not take root here in our state standards or curriculum. One of the concepts that will no longer be discussed under such a policy would be the idea of white privilege.
Classroom discussion should not be something that's government regulated.
You can't expect some parents to teach these types of issues to their kids at home, so we can start in schools.
Any attempt to prevent students and teachers from having honest discussion about topics that are affecting their lives and affect all of our lives, I don't understand how we can even consider that education.
I feel like white privilege is a huge issue in society, and a lot of people don't acknowledge this issue, but it is definitely still here and it still exists.
I feel like they are considered the superior race, and opportunities are presented to them more than other races.
I was taught that Christopher Columbus was the only person who was smart enough to know that the earth was round. We call it whitewashed. It was whitewashed history. It was all about making white people look good.
Despite the wide range of beliefs among members of the movement, one of the founders, Gene Stefanchik and Richard Delgado, believe that there are many general premises about race and racism that many CRT theorists would embrace. CRT's fundamental tenets are composed of these ideas.
All of these things, they seem as if they can be proven by numbers. It went from slavery to Jim Crow to mass incarceration. So I guess because I'm a person that believes that, then of course I believe that systemic racism is a thing.
Our legal system has a lot of laws put in place and just general policies that do hinder minorities.
Race is something that people made up, and they made it up because they were doing things that they wanted to do that were wrong.
I feel like it should be required, and that good teachers would address issues of racism.
As an educator, I talk with students of all races, colors, whatever, that if I teach it, if I make it important for me to teach those things and talk about those things, hopefully you guys growing up can make it easier for you all and your kids and their kids, and eventually it's just the thing of everyone can do this, that, or this.
I don't think teachers are responsible for teaching that, so I feel like that's the parents' responsibility to teach their children right from wrong and not bring that to school.
Well, if I'm teaching about world history, and I'm honestly teaching about world history, I can't not include racism because it is an important part of what has made the world the way it is today.
Laws can't change people's minds, but beliefs in doing the right thing can influence the perception of human distinction. What is your take on how racism is discussed in classrooms? For WJAG-TV, this has been Tre'Nyce Anderson.